Hey guys, weather expert here, bringing you guys an awesome video on a weather update, a tropical update on the latest on the Gulf of Mexico, tropical development potential models last week, earlier actually, it was actually earlier this week, maybe last weekend. Models trying to point out tropical development. They kind of went away from that, and the ensembles went away. The ensembles came back, and all the model runs are starting to come back, and this was becoming more likely because of actual semiotics of what's going to happen with this. So right now, you guys can see that it's not happening until later next week. So this thing is not really associated with what's happening. It is actually associated with what's happening, but it's not directly what's going to happen. So you guys see there's a lot of unsettled weather going on in the Caribbean, and it's going to be entering the Gulf of Mexico. You got to be watching these systems because these systems in October and November can sneak up like a heartbeat. Like I remember Wilma, and this day it was a tropical storm. So we got to be watching out for these storms. Not just because it's going to happen like a Category 5 is going to come up to Cancun and go back out. It's not going to happen like that. Most models are saying, I'll show you guys this in a while, they're showing a storm from the East Pacific kind of giving its energy, getting in the Bay of Campeche. And we all know the Bay of Campeche really well. And the Bay of Campeche is notorious for storms that can explode in strength. They can do a lot. It can get very bad, especially if this thing goes north. But right now it's still a long ways out, and we have to look at if the dynamics are going to be favorable, if the models are crazy, if there's a lot of questions to be asked. And right now let's look at our fronts. We have a stationary front right here, and you might be saying, "Oh, it's a stationary front in October. We better be watching the tail end of this thing." Well, yeah, but there's a cold front right here too, which means that there's shear coming down with this cold air coming down, which is it's not very favorable. There's this high pressure right here that's building over here, preventing any development, and you can see it right here. Here are the two tropical waves right here. And let's start look at the we have to look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. Here's NOAA's sea surface temperature anomaly for the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. You guys can see that over here it's been it's been cooler than average, about 0.5, about 1 to 2 degrees below average. But but around the whole entire basin, it's been relatively 1 to 2 degrees above average. And when you have that, it can mean some explode. Can mean if let's say that the Caribbean, it's been dormant for all these years, and it's going to wake up and do. And even though you might think that the Caribbean is going to be dormant this year, even if we don't get a storm, I would still closely monitor it, just because even if we don't get one in the Caribbean, we get in the Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of Mexico, we only had Bill, and that was in the early season, and we missed out the whole entire way of the whole rest of the season. Now you can see Joaquin's cold water chain. A lot of the energy is left over here. You guys see that the main development region, there's still a lot of warm water, but the wind shear is unfavorable. But over here is where it's going to start getting interesting, because the upper level dynamics that the European GFS and UK Met are showing are a little bit more different. Speaking of models, I want to go to NASA. Not mine. This is weather bells. I want to go to the NASA model. This is an experimental model, and you guys can see right here. There's my dog barking. I hope it's not my parents, because I'm making this video right now. Here we go, 96 hours. You guys can see that there's a big ridge going on, producing a lot of steady weather, producing an onshore flow. Anything that will come here would just go right back in. We go 144 hours. It's about 6 days out. We start seeing some lowering pressure. We start seeing a little gap right here with a little trough right here. So a little positively tilted trough coming around, which will kind of defeat the purpose of it going this way, So the steering currents will be kind of a little off. We go 7 days out, and we start seeing a little piece of that coming out into the Gulf of Mexico. And right now there's this little trough, but you see here's this say area, a little pressure. That's my dog barking. It's really annoying because I'm doing this video, and I can barely find time to make videos like this. Because here's a low pressure system right here. You guys see that it's saying that there's a low pressure right here. What's the low pressure going to do down here? It's going to move towards there. So your GFS has this system going west, and then kind of Texas coast. It's a tropical storm. NASA has a Category 2 hurricane right here. Is 8 days out, and this thing's like about 1,000. This thing's about 982 millibars. That's about Category 1 hurricane. We got to 9 days, and yeah, this is not good at all. Yeah, it shows at 960 millibars. Man, my dog is being really annoying right now. 960 millibars, that's a Category 2 hurricane. We put on UV 900, you put the winds 900 millibars. You guys see that's about 96 millibars and 10 meet and about at the surface probably Category 1 or strong Category 1 or weak Category 2 winds. Now let's head to the European. So here it is about 192 hours out. That's about, you know, that's about 8 days away, and things can change. So we have a system. I've seen this before. I've seen this in September. I remember September, early September, I think it was, when it wanted to develop something over here. But right now it's not coming off the coast here. It's coming from the East Pacific, and this is a little bit of a game changer. We've seen storms like this, and it kind of makes a little low pressure over here. And since there's a trough over here, this little green I'll show you right here. Since there's here's actually a really good illustration of this. Here's high pressure moving off, 120, 100. Here's our low pressure system. Here's the area high pressure. Storms like to move to areas low, high pressure like to move to areas of low pressure. So that's why it kind of makes it jerks it over here. But then we start getting over here, kind of gets tailed into this trough over here with this upper level low that's going to be setting up, possibly bringing some pretty heavy snow to the Rockies maybe. And we start moving over here, it kind of meets in with you know, area low pressure and with the possibility of a tropical cyclone. And yeah, you guys can tell what's going to happen. They kind of merge. It doesn't get ejected like this. And thank gosh, because we don't want this going to South Carolina if this were to occur. And yeah, that's about the end of the loop. But what I want you guys to take from this is that Gulf of Mexico storms, monitor them. It's October. It's getting towards Wilma time. It's not going to become another Wilma. Just saying to monitor these homegrown storms, because I've seen storms like these that can come up in a heartbeat. But most of the Bay Campeche storms will go into Mexico, but some of them, just with the right dynamics, can show some. And before I go, I want to show you guys the forecast for the wind shear for this time, and you guys can see it's really hard to tell about the GFS right now. I'll show you guys the areas that it's kind of predicting lower shear. Right now it's showing a ton of shear coming down from the northwest, and yeah, from the northwest, kind of you have this little spot of light wind shear. So it's kind of finding that gap, but it's kind of hard to believe because now it's, you know, almost 8 days out, and this is like really hard to forecast right now. But yeah, guys, that's really gonna wrap up. That's my video, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.